I'm Hunter.
And I'm Jennifer. We're here today to kind of share what Bible version we use and show you all of our Bible recap gear so you know what it is that we're um, looking at in case you want to follow along. So we both are using the NLT version. Um,
The New Living Translation.
Yes. Um, we have a few different versions of the Bible, but the NLT we found just the way it says things is a lot easier to understand and comprehend, especially reading through Job. I know for me, really helped because, some of that poetry in there with his friends, it gets hard to understand. So, but there on the app, the YouVersion app, you can actually test out different versions of the Bible. You can do that for free. That app is completely free. Um, and it's really helpful because we originally started reading our Bible recap plan with the CSBs, which are kind of similar.
It's
but
not that bad, but
yeah,
there are some things in there that it's harder to follow.
yeah. And I have a King James version too, and I know that's not for me. But we do have one that way we can look at the different translations, especially when they're because sometimes they do change the words a little bit.
And different words have different meanings.
Right.
Like in King James, like if somebody is begging somebody, they say beseech. In NOT, it says they ask. Asking and begging are completely different. So beseech means to beg, to plead. So
And
those
sometimes
kinds of
they have
things.
the little asterisks that you have to then look down at the bottom, and it'll tell you too, like this also meant this word in Greek or Hebrew, so that way you can kind of put it together. Like, okay, this is what it's saying instead. Yeah. So you do have to pay attention to that. Okay, so now we're going to get into all of our Bible recap here. By no means do you have to actually purchase these things. This is just something that I have to have physical copies for. So um I found it easiest to do that, but everything you need is on that YouVersion app. You can go to the Bible Recap site. It's thebiblerecap.com/start, and you can print out a plan. You can do it digitally. You can get it print. If you are going to buy these books, I suggest doing it on Amazon because we found out. Yes, we found that it was cheaper to do that. You could get everything for like $40. We got this big book here. So this is the hardcover Bible recap. This is the actual year guide to reading and understanding. All this is, it has each day, it has a recap. And in all honesty, it's Tara Lee's videos. Word for word, this is what she says in her videos. Even her God shot. It's all in here. So if you didn't want to watch her video or you wanted a physical copy to read,
if you like books like my wife,
if you like books like me, then yes, this is very helpful, especially because I like to underline stuff when I read. So we do have the discussion guide. This is for groups. So it is just a weekly guide. So it asks you about 10 questions every week. So you sit down and you have group discussions. So we are doing a Bible study with our family, and that's what we use that for. And it helps to really dive into what you were reading that week and ask different questions.
It's a discussion.
Yes, a discussion to
it's
have.
It's called the discussion guide for a reason.
Yep. The next thing, obviously, we have the study guide and our journals. The journal is very simple. You don't necessarily need this. It just has each day and then the 3 things you love, learn and noticed, questions, in your God shot. It doesn't give you any information, so it's not really a necessity. Like, the study guide is really helpful. It asks you, 5 to 10 questions, depending on what it is. and it really helps, I think, to dive in and better understand what you're reading.
Yeah.
You know, like
It helps lock it into your brain.
right, like and some of those things like you wouldn't think of. So it's asking you're like, oh, I didn't know that that's what that passage was talking about. But you know, and it helps when you and I, because we sit down and discuss things. You know, like that conversation of learning things. Um, so that's helpful. Then we have this, and this is it's the 365 reflections and activities for children and families. It's a kids devotional. So it has the daily reading, it has a quick look, a small recap, a God shot for them, and then an activity. And this is geared towards children and families. So we're doing this with our children. Um, we have one workbook for each right now, so that way they can do it and complete it on their own. But we enjoy doing it as a family, and I think we may get our own workbooks just because you know it's neat the activities it has in there, and it breaks it down.
To a child's
Yes,
understanding.
to a child's understanding. So when you're reading it and you're like, okay, like it's just a basic sum up, you know, it doesn't go into too much detail. Um, and today, so we just actually got the new one that was released. It's the Bible recap, um, like the 365-day guide, but for ages 8 through 12. So two of our kids are 9 and 13. So this is perfect. And all this does is it's exactly like that big blue book I showed you earlier, the adult version. This is just a kid's version. It has overall snapshot of what happened and then the God shot. And, you know, we don't know how this one will do yet. We are starting that second study with the kids. So originally we started the Bible recap plan. Um,
In August of 24.
yeah, in August of 2024, and we are now currently about almost halfway through. We're like on day 152. But with the new year, we decided that we would go ahead and do a second plan and start reading through the Bible again. But this time, we're going to incorporate our kids because we started a different study and they ended up kind of falling out. So we're trying to bring the kids back in and do it as a family.
How
So,
we intended originally to incorporate them so that we as our little family unit can grow.
right, because um, our older two are from a previous marriage, and me and them didn't have a relationship with God before you. So now, as we're all trying to grow and learn, I want them included, and they seem to, you know, find it
Yep.
interesting. I
They
mean,
get
you
heavy
know,
praises from our church
yes,
about
and children
just
about
from what they
knowing,
learned
yeah,
from when we were doing it with them,
right.
how they were able to answer questions even older kids had no idea.
Right. So,
So
you know, if you have kids, I highly suggest, you know, maybe getting some of these
get
and
them
doing
involved.
them. Like,
Like it
yes,
it definitely works.
yes, they enjoy it, and we enjoy having those discussions. But since we're doing that second, since we're doing that second read through, we'll come back and we'll do little snippets of the new insights that we are finding during this reading because you know before you just when we read you had an overall view of the story and now as we're reading little verses are popping out and it's like oh man you know like this you know may have appeared later and now I understand this better or I can see God working here um and we want to be able to share that with you as we learn and grow in new ways because I think that's the point, right? Like
Yeah.
every time you read it, you want to get something new. So we want to share that with you. And especially if it's something that we didn't catch the first time.
So just a little disclaimer. uh we do not claim in any way that our answers are the 100% unfallible right answers.
Right.
We get what we get from it, and we're just sharing that to talk about God, to open the door for a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
If you have something different that you saw from what we have read, that's good. It is okay for us to have all different answers. The name of the game is to learn and grow from each other. Some of you may have gotten something different from us, or from even people that you do it with. And our different ways of life and different things that have happened to us in our life are going to change our point of view to see things differently. Maybe you have been to Bible college and you've graduated with a master's. You're going to have a completely different point of view than what somebody that knows nothing, or somebody that only has a year's worth of reading the Bible and hasn't been discipled right or mentored in that, and just self-teaching themselves about the Bible. That's fine. We're here to help each other. And we don't judge. We don't say that we are right and nobody else can be right. This is the answer.
Right.
This is just what we see.
Yeah, it's what we see. Our goal is to engage with others about what we're learning, and we want you to share what you're learning, because maybe you saw something we didn't, like, how we're seeing through our second walkthrough, we're seeing new things, so maybe we
We're open for
caught
you to
something.
teach us something.
Yes. Yeah.
Teach
like
us
like
something.
we're not here to teach you, really. We're just here to share with you what we're learning in the Bible. um
And that really is all it is. So let's not anybody be upset if we say something that you don't agree with. Share your comment about it.
or if you think what we said was wrong, please share that with us, and
Yeah, and educate
explain
us in the
why.
way why,
Yes,
so
right.
we can
So we know
then
going forward.
know, and we can look into it and correct what we thought was right.
Right. Especially because, so for me, I'm only like 3.5 years into my faith journey. So reading through the Bible, this is my first time ever. I don't know the Bible. I don't know, any of those things besides a basic, maybe a little story, and what we've seen on Chosen now. That's about it. So
And what you learn in church and
currently,
other groups
but,
that you're in with
like,
church,
um,
you've learned a lot more than what you think.
oh no, I know that. But what I'm saying is, I'm still fairly new in that. So maybe I have a different way of seeing things or understanding, or maybe I have questions about it. And, it's something that you wouldn't think I would have a question on. Or, maybe I saw it something differently and I said it and it wasn't right. I wouldn't necessarily know that because, again, I'm only halfway through the Bible currently, so. But yeah, we want you to engage with us and share, what you're learning. And if you've seen us make a mistake and say something that, okay, nope, that's definitely not what this passage meant. But from my understanding, God's word is a living, thing. So everybody will get something different. I don't necessarily know that there's one right way, but
But thank y'all for supporting us and being with us, and we will see y'all in our next video. We're Unbreakable Faith. See you next time.